Welcome back to another arena draft here, Tier Zero Gaming with me, Mike. This is draft number 8 on the July ladder. We are coming off of two pretty bad outcomes in a row, a pair of 1-3s in a row. Unfortunately, you can't win them all. It puts our record to dead even through platinum, a slight winning record overall. Certainly a bad performance given that I know that I can be, and I know that I can go on runs that put me into the top 1,000 players on Arena. So not exactly a great showing, but plenty of time to turn it around. The goal is to end the season with somewhere around a 60% win rate. And right now we're not there, but I think we can do well enough to get there. So, wish me luck. Anyway, pack one, pick one. Fnatic Veronis. This card is phenomenal. Take this card. The end. That's the whole tweet. Fnatic Veronis is an awesome Magic the Gathering card. It helps you cast your Eldrazi faster. Once you have your Eldrazi, it helps you cast your gigantic Eldrazi. It's good to flip into the graveyard off of Malevolent Rumble or Glimpse the Unthinkable because it just comes back as a 4/4 that taps for 4. Fnatic of Veronis is awesome. Take Fnatic of Veronis. That's my pitch. That's what I got for you. Depth Defiler will play fine with it. We do have a Basking Brood Scale down on the bottom. We can take the Brood Scale if we want to just stay mono green here. I really like Depth Defiler. I also haven't gotten a lot of opportunities to play with it. Generally speaking, when I wind up in these Eldrazi decks, I'm usually Gruul, maybe Splashing Blue. But I would love to take this Depth Defiler and be able to maybe go off. Eldrazi Repurposer pick 3, wonderful, great card is fantastic. We have a Writhing Chrysalis pick 4. So either people at this draft in particular just are off of Eldrazi and just want to be trying something different, or I don't know. I have no idea how you get a pick 4 Writhing Chrysalis in pack 1. I didn't even know that was possible these days. You know, we're into July here. The set's been out for a while. So, yeah, give me the Writhing Chrysalis. Here we go. Teamer Spaghetti. We have a plan. We have a purpose. We have a landscape. We have a bunch of mana with Fnatic of Veronis already. So what we would normally be looking to pick up in these Eldrazi decks, just for those of you who maybe are kind of getting eyes on the format after it happened or just weren't particularly familiar. Writhing Chrysalis is the highest win rate common in the set. You want Writhing Chrysalis over most of the rares, if I'm being completely honest. For the Eldrazi deck, you're looking to pick up things like Eldrazi Repurposer and Basking Brood Scale to cover your early game, while making the spawn tokens that feed into the later game, where Writhing Chrysalis and Titan, something with Titan, can take over the game. The Titan is the 5/5 with Trample that on cast puts a +1/+1 counter on all colorless creatures you control, and it does it on attack as well. So it's a cast and an attack trigger, which its name is going to come to me at some point, and I'm just gonna like blurt it out in the middle of nothing. So expect that later. Demon Inferior is fine. Not really the pick we're looking for following up that Writhing Chrysalis, but like it's certainly not a bad card, and we'll play it in our deck, assuming we have the appropriate amount of blue mana. Annoyed Altasaur or Disciple of Freyles, I think, is the choice here. Disciple of Freyles being a land that potentially draws a bunch of cards is obviously good, but like you don't always want to be sacrificing, like not even not always. You don't generally want to be sacrificing your larger creatures. So Annoyed Altasaur just being like, oh, and we get past the second one anyway. So never mind, nothing mattered. Everything's wonderful. Okay, I'm just gonna grab the blue card because we're leaning to be Simic Splash Red, I think. Yeah, just give me the blue card, I guess. We'll take a 2-drop. We're light on 2s anyway. We only have the Fanatic so far. Not exactly a highlight. This isn't a card that I'm excited to put into what is shaping up to be a big mana Eldrazi deck, but sometimes you just need things to fill slots on your curve. Getting an extra 2-drop here is going to prove important, I think, depending on how the rest of this draft goes. If I can replace it, I gladly will. We have a red-blue landscape. We have an unstable amulet. I think I just want the amulet here, if I'm honest. Just give me that slight card advantage. The red-blue landscape is fine. Yeah, give me an amulet. I love amulet. Yep, modal dual-faced land, the specimen. Hydroelectric Specimen, not a phenomenal card by any means, but any of these modal dual-faced cards that are lands on one side and a spell that is even, like, a little bit impactful are more than worth their slot. That is a very late Reckless Pyrosurfer that we will happily pick up. It's another 2-drop. It does look like we're starting to ship towards green-red with a little bit with a blue splash rather than the other way around. But Nadu's pretty cool. This card's broken, right? Modern players and Commander players, Nadu's totally fine, right, guys? Anyway, I'm gonna take this Nadu. It does sting a little bit to pass a Fanged Flames, but like Nadu is just an incredibly good rate. Like on top of everything else, it's just such a good rate. Here's a second Writhing Chrysalis, and we're just over here doing a happy dance, I think. This draft is, compared to the last couple drafts where we've kind of, like, not really found our lane well, and the drafts didn't have, like, powerful cards, we're sitting on this draft with double Writhing Chrysalis and Nadu and Fanatic of Ronus, and this makes me feel much better. You know, you do a couple bad ones in a row, it's always nice to get some good cards to play with. So hopefully we can convert with that. Prayers doesn't do anything. Drowner of Truth is a nice dual land to help me facilitate everything. The Bountiful Landscape, also nice. I'm going to take the modal dual-faced land over the landscape, but if I can wheel the landscape, that's obviously fantastic. Horrific Assault is just... We're going to take that over the Skittering Precursor, though we would love to have the Precursor. Horrific Assault is too good of a removal spell in these Eldrazi decks to pass up, and hey, look, there's another one. Also worth noting, the Horrific Assaults trigger Nadu. They do target your creatures as well. So picking up 2 Horrific Assaults on the back of starting this pack off with Nadu is pretty good. We also potentially can wheel that Trickster's Elk. That card usually goes pretty late in packs. It's, it's kind of medium. But we're a deck that's going to be capable of putting a bunch of spawn tokens into play. And turning our spawns into Elks while also triggering Nadu is a thing we can do. And also, like, in a pinch, it is just a removal spell of sorts. You turn your opponent's good creature into a random 3/3, and then if and when that creature ultimately dies, whether it dies in combat later or whatever else happens, you get your Elk back, right? Like, it stops being an aura and starts being a creature again, and you just have a 3/3 sitting around. So it's kind of a really weird beast within, where at different points each player winds up with a beast. But regardless, like I said, it'll also trigger Nadu if we ever turn any of our own little shitters into a 3/3, and then it becomes a 3/3 again, like, after that shitter dies. So 2 3/3s, pretty good. We grab another landscape, happy about that. Deep Analysis is fine. Copy Crook is fine. I think we just take the Deep Analysis here. Unfortunately, the creatures that we have in our deck that are worth copying with Copy Crook are all cast triggers, really. Like, we can't copy a Writhing Chrysalis and get the extra idiots. We can't copy the Annoyed Altasaur and get the Cascade trigger, so, like, Copy Crook just ain't all that. We're shipping the Ajanis because we just want people to take white cards. Like, we just don't want to We want to get our teamer cards. So pass the white card. Make sure that whoever we're passing to is like, okay, I'm taking white cards. That means I'll pass these other cards. That's what we're hoping. I'm excited about this one. We've got good cards. We're gonna grab something we're not playing. That's fine. We're in the dregs of the pack. We've already got 22 cards sitting like in our playable pool. A couple of them are lands, and that's okay. Ghost Fire Slice is great. Wastegate Battle Mage is great. Amphibian Downpour is okay. Um, we're not really going to be storming off per se in this deck. I think we grab the Ghost Fire Slice here. The Battle Mage is a strong consideration, but Ghost Fire Slice just deals with a lot of problems, up to and including Breaker of Creation, and being able to clear that Breaker is very worthwhile. Here's a Repurposer and a Brood Scale in the same pack, as well as the Revitalizing Repast and Glimpse the Impossible. Like this pack is pretty good. This pack makes every pack I open in the last draft, just puts it to shame. I think last draft was just not a very powerful draft. I wonder if anybody at that pod did particularly well. Unfortunately, I have no way of knowing. We're a little light on twos. Repurposer is slightly better in general. But yeah, you see me waffling back and forth just because we are light on twos. I would like another two, but it is what it is. So we have a landscape here. Yeah, landscape's great. A second Ghost Fire Slice, pick 4. This is shaping up to be awesome. Yeah, move. So like, there's a Wumpus Aberration, but there's also a Nightshade Dryad, and I just mentioned we were short on twos. That's a 2. That's also mana for our bigger cards later. I think grabbing the Dryad over the Wumpus there is... It stings to have to pass such a good card in the 6/6 with Trample, but we really, really just need 2-drops that can get us into our big dumb creatures at a reasonable rate. We grab another landscape. Here's a pick 7 Trickster Elk over nothing. As I mentioned before, I actually don't mind playing the Trickster's Elk. In my brain, this is a 2-drop anyway. It's not going to be played on turn 2 terribly often, but as far as I'm concerned, it's a 2-drop. It's going to go on something and then turn into a 3/3 later. Yet another landscape. Our mana is looking pretty solid. 3 modal dual-faced cards. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 landscapes. And a Dryad. Our colors are a little... The Depth Defiler is like the scariest card there. Because like everything is single pip that we're trying to play, except for, like, besides our green cards. Except for the Depth Defiler. So... Landscape, second Demon Inferior, Brain Surge, Foul Strike, yeah. Foul Strike? Okay, so Foul Strike is okay. We are a little removal light. We have the 2 Ghost Fire Slices. We have the Trickster's Elk. What the Foul Strike lets us do is have a way of interacting with our opponent. Like, it's a combat trick that also triggers Nadu. Brain Surge is fine. We're probably not playing either of these. We have 15 creatures. Yeah, we're fine. We can grab the Cyclops. Like, I'm definitely not playing the Aether Spike, so... Grabbing the Cyclops and just... We'll see what happens. We'll see what cuts we need to make. This deck has... an okay curve. Yeah, Draftsmith wants me to play the 2-drop over the Cyclops. That makes sense to me. I'm very on board with that. And then trim some lands because we have Mana Dorks and 3 modal dual-faced cards. So many landscapes. So many landscapes. Okay. So this puts us at 8 green sources, 8 red sources, and 5 blue sources. plus the modal dual-faced cards, which is a green and a red, a green, or I'm sorry, a green and a blue, a green, and a blue. So we're at 10 green sources, 7 blue sources, 8 red sources. That mana sounds pretty good to me. Plus the Dryad, making any color. That's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, Hydroelectric Specimen, the Drowner of Truth, and the Disciple are the 3 modal dual-faced lands. I think I want another land. I want more mana. I don't ever want to be stuck with all of these 3s and 4s and just not finding the lands that I need. Okay, so we're going with this. This feels mana light. I think I want another land. Like, in hindsight, I think I want another land, but we'll see. We'll see how this goes. We have 17 lands, counting the modal dual-faced cards, plus 2 mana dorks, plus Eldrazi spawn made from various places. So, and our curve isn't like crazy high. It's not like we have a bunch of 7 mana Eldrazi in this deck. We have an Annoyed Altasaur, and one of our lands is also a 7-drop. So we're doing okay. We find the red source here. We hit perfect mana because of naturally drawing the island. That feels nice. Pyrosurfer in. We have 2 ways of triggering the Nadu once it's in play, which is pretty cool. Pyrosurfer, boop. Play Nadu. Nadu, Winged Wisdom, Scourge of formats. Alright, Envoy. So, yeah, let's just get a trigger for as little mana as possible so that, you know, depending on what we draw, we can play it. We, in fact, do draw something that we can play. In for 6. Play another dude. The energy really doesn't matter. This Foul Strike is about to be able to target to make us win a combat while also attacking for a bunch. I think we are going to play the Disciple of Freely's as a land this turn. That's not even a particularly good blocker, which is good for me. Alright, Amulet, get some energy. Draw a card with Amulet. Landfall, trigger Battle Cry, attack with everything, Foul Strike whatever they block, trigger Nadu. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, Foul Strike whatever they block. If it was lethal, obviously we would target whatever was unblocked, but it was not quite lethal with 2+1/+1 counters. So, all right, there you go. That was just an easy, quick curve out. Nice little aggressive start. Nadu was a beater that happened to trigger a couple times because of Horrific Assault and Foul Strike. So yeah, let's do more of that. That was wonderful. Okay, 3 lands. All of our colors. We have green, we have red, we have blue. Depth Defiler is going to be stranded a little bit, but that's okay. There's a green source, so we can find a red source first. This way we can play our 3-drop without hurting ourselves, I believe. So, all right, here's our red. We have blue from the Hydroelectric Specimen. We can find a second red from the other landscape now if we want to, since we have double forest in hand already. Yeah, I like this. Just play this now, get it down tapped while we're not going to use the mana and aren't taking any damage, and then next turn we can start playing our 3-drops. And if we find another blue source, obviously we get access to the Depth Defiler. We don't need double red, unless we draw Rowls. So we can sit on this as a colorless land to potentially kick the Depth Defiler as well. So, We'll see what shakes out. First and foremost, we're going to get this Eldrazi Repurposer down. Okay, that's a good one. I definitely think it's Repurposer over Gatekeeper. I don't want opponent just attacking in, right? Oh, we're just going to try to get full value. Follow up the Gatekeeper with the Chrysalis and just get in chip shot damage that way. That's fine. It just puts me taking a bunch of damage this turn, most likely. The Metastatic Evangel, I think, just attacks into this Gatekeeper, but maybe our opponent doesn't want to. Maybe they want to keep their Proliferate guy around. Guess we'll find out. So the Envoy now, yeah. Envoy now is a 4/5 with lifelink. Horrific Assault off the top is gas. That's very, very good for us. So yeah, here's our Writhing Chrysalis Man. Trigger Molten Gatekeeper. Trigger Molten Gatekeeper. Shoot you for a bunch. Have a bunch of blockers. Your attacks aren't good now. My attack's fine, I guess. Yeah, that's fine. A little bit of chip shot damage. Did they take damage from one of their lands? They did, right? They took 3 this past turn from the Razorgrass field. Would you like to proliferate your -1/-1 counter? They don't. That's shocking and crazy. Shield Gengar. That's a big fella. So, notably, one of the things that we get to do here is just be able to chump block the lifelinker and sacrifice the spawn so that they never gain any life off of this. Which is going to be important if we're trying to race, which we probably are. So, this is a block here, sacrifice before damage, get a counter on our Writhing Chrysalis, and then let this all happen. This coming turn, we have Trickster's Elk and Horrific Assault, so we can Elk the Shield Gengar so it stops mattering. And the Horrific Assault, I guess, doesn't actually clear anything, huh? That's okay. Well, we can clear the Metastatic Evangel before it starts mattering, I guess. So for sure, we're getting the Shield Gengar. That's like the guarantee for the turn. We know that's happening. And then the question is whether we want to Horrific Assault anything now. We can hit the Evangel. We can hit the Shield Gengar now that it's smaller and just get our 3/3 back. We can also just repurpose her to use more of our mana, which also gets us an extra spawn token that is another power on the Writhing Chrysalis. I think just getting the Evangel out of play might be worthwhile here. Like, we're not really scared of the Envoy of the Ancestors. As soon as we draw a second blue source, the Envoy doesn't matter anymore. So, I'm not completely sure that we need to use this Horrific Assault here, but yeah, getting the Evangel out of here makes some sense. And then we can attack with the Writhing Chrysalis, I guess. So if I'm the opponent, yeah, I think if I'm the opponent, I just double block there and force me to sacrifice the spawn, and then I don't have something to chump the Envoy with, so they get to gain 6 life. So yeah, I'm pretty sure not attacking is correct here. We just want to be able to chump with this spawn for kind of as long as possible. And make sure that the Envoy isn't getting out of hand with the lifelink. I don't care if it gets bigger, I care that it has lifelink. Yeah, that's fine. So we can crack this because we have the colorless source in the spawn tokens. Okay, that's a big fella. It's more importantly, it's our second blue source since we have 5 lands in play. We go to 6 mana with the Eldrazi Repurposer, but again, we want to keep chumping the Envoy, I think. So, yep, start shooting stuff. We get our 3/3, which has quote-unquote haste, because it's been in play this whole time, just, over on the other side of the board. Trigger Molten Gatekeeper twice here with the Eldrazi Repurposer, put our opponent to 12, and then attack for 7. We can attack with the Gatekeeper if we want to, but I don't think that I think that's just a free block with the 1/3. Chump block the Chris is fine. In for 3, opponent's down to 9, and then they gain 1 because their Gargoyle had a lifelink from the Envoy, so 10. I think we play the Drowner as a land here. We could hold it, because if we draw a land, then we can cast it, but I think we just want to play it as a land here, which opens up the Depth Defiler this coming turn. Even if we don't have the Scion to kick it, we still get to just bounce that giant lifelinking Envoy and reset it, which buys us a ton of time compared to what's going on from our opponent's side of the board. Like, the fact that it has been a 6/7 for multiple turns and has gained our opponent 0 life just due to the spawns being able to block and, blanket is fantastic. Opponent entwining a Gravedig here, so they get a Gravedigger, 2/2 zombie, and rebuy a Shill Gengar. At this point in the game, I'm not sure the Shill Gengar is going to matter, but it is a powerful Magic card. 6/6 flyer for 5. More text for reasons. Okay. Writhing Chrysalis represents 3 damage from Gatekeeper. I don't think that matters. Depth Defiler, they didn't attack, which means we have our spawn token that we can use to kick our Depth Defiler. I think it's correct to get this Envoy out of the way so that we can be attacking. And I think it's fine to kick it using the token, which will also grow the Writhing Chrysalis. And we have attacks. And then the next turn, we have the follow-up with a second Writhing Chrysalis to get damage in with the Molten Gatekeeper. So I'm pretty sure this is just Depth Defiler, kick it, grow the Chris, attack with everything, bounce the Envoy. Yep. Do the thing. Do the stuff. I would like both of these modes. This thing and me. Counter here. Boop. I don't need this island. Here's a dude, trigger Molten Gatekeeper, and then attack all. We know our opponent's hand, so they don't have any instants. They don't have anything that we're worried about them doing in response here. They're getting priority because of the landscape. So here we go. Okay, attack with everything. Chump block the giant thing. Bounce off the Molten Gatekeeper. Takes 6 down to 3. And this leaves them more or less dead on board to the Writhing Chrysalis. We also have the Ghost Fire Slice that can go face that we drew off of the Depth Defiler. So, and if I remember right, we have 2 Ghost Fire Slices in this deck. So, nice 8 damage to the Dome plus the Gatekeeper with double Chris and double Repurposer, I think. We have a nice few ways of making a few bodies all at once and getting burst damage out of our Molten Gatekeeper. Sure. So do they even survive with just this? Like, even if we didn't have this Ghost Fire Slice? If we just hit attack all, that's GG anyway, right? Boop. Alright. Alright, moving on. Game number 3. This deck is sweet. I like this deck. We've got stuff going on. We've got powerful cards in our deck. Feels way better than the last couple. All right, we have 3 lands. We don't have a blue source. Yeah, this one's close. This hand needs a little bit of help. Okay, that's a little bit of help. So I think that still finds the second red source so that our Ral and the Implicit Maze is turned on. As opposed to finding a second green source so that we maybe cast the Disciple. I think I'd rather just make sure that when we hit 5, we can cast the Ral and the Implicit Maze. I think. We still do need a little bit of help from our deck. We could use either a 2-drop that we can cast or a blue source. Either one, I would say, counts. Our opponent is on Mountain, Do Nothing, which is probably pretty good for us considering our hand did not come out aggressively. I'm much happier that our opponent is also doing nothing. Alright, well, unfortunately we drew another red source. I think that turn I maybe should have played the Disciple of Freyalise, but I guess it doesn't much matter. Blue source right on time. And by that I mean not right on time. In a perfect world, our opponent... our opponent just plays something that we can kill with a Horrific Assault. Would be a perfect world. We don't live in a perfect world. They played an axe with nothing to put it on, which is a little wild to me. I'm not sure I really get that, but they have energy. If they have a Discharge or Ghostfire Slash, sure. We still get a trigger off the Nadu. So, like, them being able to answer the Nadu for 1 mana was worst case, but we still get the trigger, so it's not even that bad. I don't even... I guess we just played this Molten Gatekeeper? Like, I'm not even sure. I'm guessing that they're, like, maybe Boros Energy? And that's pure speculation just because of the Inventor's Axe. Just assuming that they're, like, a low-to-the-ground aggressive deck if they've got the Axe. Okay, so there's the Plains. So yeah, they are probably Boros Energy. Make a 1/1 or get energy, sure. You can equip if you want. I don't care. We're just gonna sweep this up with the Ral and the Implicit Maze, I imagine. Use a bunch of our mana. Probably play the Disciple as a land here. Tapped, and then use the Ral and the Implicit Maze attack for 3. Would be my guess. Okay. Yep. I almost like using the Deem Inferior here. Just because, like, they've shown that they're not drawing particularly well. And if the best thing that they were doing that turn was just playing the 2/2 and getting 3 energy, then there's a shot that they really don't want to just draw it again. Okay. We're playing it a little slow here. Not that I have a bunch of an advantage to push, but yeah, like just getting the body down is fine, I guess. Our hand is entirely reactive. Ghostfire Slice, Horrific Assault, Ral and the Implicit Maze, and Deem Inferior. This is a 3/3, and there's a 1/1. So Ironworks makes the 3/3. End of turn, if we want to, we can Ghostfire Slice the 3/3 and then clean up the rest with the Ral and the Implicit Maze. Or we can Brain Surge. It's fine too, I guess. That is a lot of cards. Man, that's so many cards. Okay. Alright, well, we get the second blue source for the Depth Defiler. Just put 2 removal spells back on top of my deck. I'll just draw them and it's fine. I don't think it matters. We're going to draw all of these cards over time. The Brain Surge... Yeah, just give me the Horrific Assault. The Brain Surge just being plus one card, basically. Spend a card, put two back, but get four, so plus one card. We're attacking here because if our opponent blocks the 2-3 with the Golem, we just get to clean up everything with the Ral and the Implicit Maze. And we don't really care if our Gatekeeper winds up in the graveyard, because we can get it back on a future turn where it matters. So this sets us up to Ral and the Implicit Maze, sweep everything, and then play the Fanatic of Ronus. As you can see by the fact that I'm holding it up like that. Alright, there you go. So opponent's board is clear. We've got some bodies. Nothing crazy, but some bodies. And a Gatekeeper that can come back later. Alright, Gatekeeper from opponent. Gain a life. They are down to 2 cards in hand as well. Yeah, I think discarding Demon Inferior is fine to get us 2 new cards. Our hand is in, like, all removal spells, so... I'm certainly not upset to draw Writhing Chrysalis here. So let's, get back this Molten Gatekeeper. Writhing Chrysalis, trigger the Gatekeeper a bunch of times. Start getting some damage on our opponent. Land for turn is fine. We can... Okay, Repurposer. Make more bodies. We can also... Yeah. I mean, the attacks are easy. Opponent probably... Okay, they are chumping. Okay. I would have thought Gatekeeper on Gatekeeper. Yeah. Alright, so they're just taking 3, which is fine by me. If we want to, we could Horrific Assault this turn, but yeah, I guess we don't really need to. We got 5 damage in with that Gatekeeper. Chrysalis plus 2 friends, and then Repurposer plus a friend. Next turn, okay. I dig the opponent's Conjurer plus Gatekeepers. They put a creature into play, and just a whole bunch of stuff happens. So we can grow our lad up to 6. So yeah, we just let this happen. No reason to get rid of our spawn if it's not actually saving our friend. Opponent can't really afford to be attacking here, so that's something. Okay. So we get to shoot down the 4-3. Target... Yeah, we could target the weird. We could target the Repurposer. The weird grows, which is cool. We can... sure. I was going to say we can Reckless Pyrosurfer and crack the landscape, but this works just as well. Bounce that. Draw some stuff. Discard the Dryad, I guess. Yeah. Opponent is going to have to chump block, and they still take 7 here. Okay. Alright, on to the next. 3-0? 3-0. We didn't even break Fanatic of Ronus that game. It's nice to have a pile of, like, good cards this time around. Like I said, coming off the back of a couple bad drafts in a row, it feels nice to have one that just feels good to play. So I think we lead here on... We have all 3 of our colors, again, but that's always important. We have all 3 of our colors. One of the biggest things to think about when you are making your mulligan decisions. We do have good mana. We have a lot of landscapes. We have the Dryad. We do have pretty good mana, but making sure that you can play all of your spells is obviously important. Thank you, Ad Blocker, for letting me know that you've blocked ads like you're supposed to. Alright, landscape on turn 1 so that we can find our red source so that our mana is good for the following turns. I think we want to lead on the Dryad here. Just having the acceleration, I think, is important. Though our opponent just went you know, island pass, so like they very easily could have Aether Spike here. I think I'm okay with a Dryad getting Aether Spiked. Yeah, like we don't actually have a 4 that we were trying to jump the gun into. So the Aether Spike was like we could see it coming. It's not ideal. Like we don't want to get our stuff counterspelled, but we can't really do anything about it if we want to try to play on curve. And our opponent had 2 extra energy from the tune, so that Aether Spike was gonna hit something at some point. Alright, Barbarian Ring. Okay, they'll be taking damage from their red spells. I have no real complaints about that. Pyro Surfer. We're playing the land ahead of time so that Hope Ender Coatl doesn't just like get us. Flare of Denial. Sure. So Aether Spike into Flare of Denial. I'd much rather that they're countering my 2 drops rather than like, if my Disciple is trying to resolve or my Annoyed Altasaur. I would prefer that these cheap guys get countered rather than the payoffs at the top end of my curve. Okay. All right, so Serum Visionary, draw a card, Scry, crack a landscape. We have a 3-drop, we have a land, we have a pass. So we're just kind of like slowly working our way up the curve. 2 mana away from Annoyed Altasaur, Fanged Flames. That's annoying, just because of the exile. We don't get the second spawn token off of it, but that's okay. They're still using, a spell for. Basically, it's still a 2-for-1 for us. We do still have the spawn here. So. Crack the landscape. I think I would like the second green source here. No? Okay. I guess technically the Disciple is the second green source, so. Okay. Or we just draw the forest and nothing matters. That's always fine. I certainly don't want to deem inferior their Serum Visionary. I guess we're just casting a 3-mana 3/3. Trained Armadon. If our opponent wants to use any of their reactive spells, like any removal, any counter magic, or whatever on a Trickster Elk, that I'm very okay with that. And yeah, I guess. Sure. Hydroelectric Specimen. It's an interesting one. We have it in our deck as well, I believe. I don't know that it's going to come up, but it does block 3/3s pretty well. They are 2 cards in their graveyard away from Barbarian Ring being a shock. Okay. Nadu Winged Wisdom. We certainly are just jamming it. Like, there's no 2 ways about that. We're going to put this card into play. I think the question is whether we want to play this Disciple as a land or not. I think maybe we do. We can also. So amusingly, if we want to get some Nadu triggers, we can deem inferior targeting our own Trickster's Elk, which lets us rebuy it, which lets us recast it targeting like the spawn token and just have a pair of 3/3s and get a couple Nadu triggers out of it. We're not doing that right this minute or anything, but like if our opponent shows us, like if we're just sitting here staring at our opponent, then we got to get the ball rolling a little bit. So we'll see what happens. Nadu doing a very good job of making this Electrozoa look very silly. So 3/1 flyer that requires you to pay energy. Nadu just kind of sitting here vibing. Suppression Ray. Okay. Okay. So this is worth a good chunk of damage. They're paying energy? Sure. So 3, 4, 5, 6. We don't untap. That's 6 more potentially. Alright, they do only have 1 red mana available. We could have here. Sure. That's a depth defiler. I would like to find this elk. So the elk wasn't untapping anyway that turn. I don't know that I should have done it right then. I mean, I did mention that it was a line available. I think that might have been a little too cute. I think we could have just played the Annoyed Allosaur there, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I think that was too cute. I think we were just supposed to play the Annoyed Allosaur that turn. Not sure what exactly we were thinking there. I suppose the one thing that this does do is set up where we can Annoyed Allosaur and Cascade into the Elk, like guaranteed. Though, again, I still think that's a little too cute. We can't afford to block here, I don't imagine, because we then can't cast the Annoyed Allosaur, though we can cast the Depth Defiler, even if we no block. Or if we do block, I mean. But then we potentially get wrecked by Resolve my Nadu trigger. Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, put the Nadu on top. And then Brain Surge, right? Yeah, we have... Let's go. That accidentally worked out spectacularly, right? Though we are at 6, we are in danger of like getting burnt out. The Barbarian Ring is worth 2 points of damage. We're dead to a Ghostfire Slice slash Ghostfire, whatever it's called. We're dead to a Skoa. Yeah, so this isn't the best, but it is what it is. Okay. Oh, sure. So we're going to land and then play the Annoyed Allosaur, which cascades into the Nadu. So, yippee. This theoretically stabilizes the board. Again, our opponent has us dead to Ghostfire Slice or land plus Skoa. I can't think of anything else that just like immediately kills us on the spot through 3 blockers. So, all right. Would you like to pay your last energy for this Electrozoa? You would not. That's probably good for me because that means there's a 3 power creature that can't attack. There's the 6th land. So if the last card is Skoa, I am in fact dead. Nothing I can do about it. It was not, so that's good. I think we really need to Disciple here if we can. We don't have the extra green source, though, do we? No? Okay. Alright. Trickster's Elk, target the spawn token. Trigger Nadu. We got a land. We have an extra 3/3. I think we attack with... Yeah, just the Annoyed Allosaur. We don't want to send everything, because the Electrozoa hitting us is still kind of scary. And then we Chris, and we have these landscapes up. One of them finds a green source, and the next turn we can Disciple to get ourselves out of 4 damage burn spell lethal range. So our opponent has another opportunity to kill us here. Okay. Doesn't look like they have it. If they had Ghostfire Slice or Skoa, we'd be dead already. So here, I think we just sacrifice the spawn token that has the elk on it, because the elk can still attack this turn. And that's 3 life and 3 cards, which is probably plenty. Yeah, attack with everything here. We have the Ghostfire Slice, so if our opponent thinks that they're safe, we can potentially kill them with that. Again, the Disciple drawing us cards and gaining us life for the Trickster Elk is potentially good. Block. I'm very okay with that. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9. So they're just dead to the Ghostfire Slice here. Perfect. So yeah, we don't need to show anything else. Here's Ghostfire Slice. Yeah, I do think we want to make sure not to tap our green mana, just in case they have a counterspell. Yeah. Because we have these spawn tokens that we can sacrifice to pay for the Disciple. Yeah. No counter magic. Opponent died. I think we got a little too cute in the middle of that game with like the Demon Inferior, the Elk, and everything else that we were doing. We almost cost ourselves the game because of it, I think. Though we managed to scrape it all together and get the win. Our deck does just have powerful cards in it. We managed to squeak by. And again, our opponent used a lot of counter magic early that game, right? That was the game where we got Aether Spiked and Flare of Denialed. But it was on our 2-drops instead of like our Writhing Chrysalis or, you know, any of the cards that mattered later in the game. All right, we don't have all 3 colors this game. We do have a turn 2 Fanatic, and we draw the Chris off the top, making the Fanatic feel fantastic. We're going to be a little bit greedy again and try and get the extra damage with this Gatekeeper into Chris. Is that even more damage over time? Hang on. So if we get the Writhing Chrysalis down last turn, then we're attacking for 4 here. And because we didn't, we're attacking for 2, but we get 3 extra. I think it's still better, but not by much. All right. Boop that thing, gain some life, boop for 2, shoot you for 3 by casting the Chris with the Molten Gatekeeper. We still have a Drowner of Truth and a Brain Surge that we can't cast. We can cast the Drowner this coming turn, though. We sacrifice the spawn. The Chris is 4 power. The Fanatic taps for 4. And then we get to Drowner, make the Scions, trigger the Gatekeeper, attack for a bunch. And yeah, this is the power of the Fanatic of Ronus. Just getting to use all of this mana early. Like, the Fanatic will be responsible for 5 mana in 2 turns. Or over 2 turns. This card is... I love this card. I'm a big fan. Warren Soul Trader. You got it. Warren Soul Trader notably can't sacrifice itself, I don't think. So... Okay, we do that first so that this thing pays for 4 mana. We still have 3 mana available. Autopay. What is that? That's weird. I don't know why it's asking me that. It doesn't matter, I don't think, but anyway, damage. Big dumb idiot, damage. Blue source, attack with Chris. No attacks with the Gatekeeper. I guess I could attack with Gatekeeper here just because it can unearth, and then they take 4 this turn. I guess they took 4 anyway. So, it doesn't matter. And we have a Brain Surge ready to roll, so we have 3 mana available. We can just Brain Surge here too. And then our opponent now has to deal with a 7/6, a Chris that can get bigger, Gatekeeper and a Fanatic that taps for 1,000,000 mana, and we're going to draw some extra cards. This all feels pretty good. We can also, if we want to, we can Brain Surge using one of the spawn tokens and then shuffle away with the Twisted Landscape. So we can get the quote-unquote true Brainstorm. Let's go. I don't need all these lands. I would... So I think I should actually keep that island. Yeah, I think I should have kept the island over this extra forest here. The Fanatic of Ronus already taps for all the green mana I'm going to need. And if we draw Depth Defiler, we can't cast it now. I should have kept the island specifically. But that's okay. I don't think it's going to ultimately matter in the grand scheme of this game. Like, we have a ton of damage coming through. But our opponent does have mana open, so they could have, like, Breathe Your Last plus blocker kind of a thing. Okay. They have 2 kill spells? Why didn't I sacrifice my thing? What am I doing? Boo, me? I guess I just didn't do the math. Okay, so I missed lethal there. I could have sacrificed the token and killed them with the Chrysalis, but it doesn't matter because we have just Gatekeeper comes back into make a dude. So we messed up, but we're bailed out by the virtue of that we have another creature to cast. So, but yeah, that was certainly an oops. That's a crazy block from opponent. I guess they just, like, if I miss it, they live. Like, play to the out of your opponent messing up. It's fair. Alright, so Drowner of Truth on turn 1, Fanatic on turn 2. We have all our mana, so we have turn 2 Fanatic into turn 3 Chris again. Like, this is like the dream curve, basically. I'm not even mad at a deep analysis. That's, I will take a refuel. These are the kind of games where it feels pretty unlosable, right? Like, opponents attacking there because they likely have the Razor Grass Ambush. Like, it could be a chump check, I suppose. But very likely they have Razor Grass Ambush, so they're attacking into my Fanatic of Ronus, because if I block, they get pretty good value there. The Argent Dais is going to pick off my stuff. Or not. But we theoretically get to draw cards at that point. They get an extra oil counter because they attack with 2 creatures. We can't block. Well, we can block, but I don't think we want to. So one thing that's worth noting here is our Fanatic of Ronus is still going to get to tap for a lot of mana just by virtue of the Chrysalis sitting in play. So the Dog Umbra, while it is an effective tool to, like, stop the Chris from taking over just the game at large, it's still providing a lot of extra value by virtue of the Fanatic being able to tap for mana. And yeah, we get to reset it with the Depth Defiler as well. So we just kind of got free mana here. They're exiling the Dog Umbra. Exiling the Dog Umbra to draw 2 cards, which is fine. And then we get our Writhing Chrysalis back. We draw 2. We have to discard a card. We are down some of our mana now. We do only have the 3 lands in play, but that's very okay. Tempest Harvester is a pretty easy discard, I think. And then, yeah, we still have mana left over, so we get to repurpose her as well this turn. this was a huge turn in terms of just how much we got to do, thanks to Fanatic of Ronus. And opponents off it. So yeah, I guess they're not trying to claw through the Writhing Chrysalis. I don't know. Seems like a strange scoop from our opponent, but we'll take the W. And that puts us to 6-0 with this deck. So playing for the trophy, for the clean 7-0, coming off the back of a pair of 1-3s, I could use it for my ego. This hand has all three colors. It has some card advantage. We're keeping this hand. I think we lead on the specimen, because we don't need to crack the landscape yet. We have Amulet that we can play onto, or Tempest Harvester that we can play early. We drew the green source, so we do get to hang on to this landscape if we want to. Yeah, play the dude, make some energy. Drawing Nadu is nice, so opponent is not showing like blue mana, so this is a pretty easy attack for 2. Play a land, get Nadu down, and continue on. We have the Elk that we can target our own thing so that we can trigger the Nadu if we want to. We have Brain Surge to reset. We have Brain Surge plus a landscape so that we can shuffle away after brainstorming, which is fantastic. Yeah, like I said when I was building this deck, it feels nice to have a deck where our cards are powerful and meaningful for the first time in a couple drafts. So we'll take these. Another landscape is fine. I don't think we're doing anything with it necessarily. I think this is just like attack with Nadu. We could play the Amulet. We could play the Elk. Yeah, okay, I like this. Play the Elk, get an extra card, attack for 6. If opponent wants to block the Harvester, now they have to use their energy just to trade with it, and we get to keep a 3/3 after that. And then we play the Amulet behind it. More energy. We can draw another card off the Amulet. And then we still have this Brain Surge with Landscape to follow it up. We also now have this Reckless Pyrosurfer with 2 landscapes, which is potentially a ton of Battlecry triggers. So depending on how opponent... This is fantastic for us. So opponent is Reiterating Bolt and then replicating it, which means we're getting 2 Nadu triggers for our opponent to kill off the Nadu. We're very, very okay with that. We'll take some damage from a Cyclops on the attack, and we don't actually care. Yeah. Okay. So we can activate the Unstable Amulet there just on the off chance that we find something. I don't remember having anything in our deck that could have protected the Nadu for a green mana, but certainly doesn't hurt to look. We can either Pyrosurfer... We can shoot the Cyclops out of the way and then Pyrosurfer, or we can just play the land and Annoyed Altasaur into a Writhing Chrysalis, triggering the Amulet. We don't have the green mana just yet to be able to use this Horrific Assault, so we're not going to use the Amulet ability this turn with our 2 energy. We want to hold on to this Horrific Assault. But this turn set up the Reckless Pyrosurfer, where we're going to get to Pyrosurfer plus crack 2 landscapes, have double Battlecry triggers, and Horrific Assault down a blocker. Probably using the Tempest Harvester as our target for the Horrific Assault, because even if our opponent responds, we get the Trickster Elk that can still attack. So this is looking to be a big turn, a big damage turn. And thanks to Nadu, we're up quite a bit of mana. So our opponent, who, like, their deck looks fine, just is very far behind and has been all game. And it looks like we're doing the fun we're just gonna sit here and rope because reasons. Okay, they know we have the Pyro Surfer, so cycling is probably a good sign for me. Two blockers doesn't cut it, and they're gone. So yeah, we got the 7-0. We did it. We drafted a deck that had powerful cards. We played okay, except for a couple small mistakes here and there that ultimately, hopefully, or not hopefully, thankfully, didn't cost us games. But, you know, be aware of those small mistakes you make, because sometimes they do wind up costing you a game. In any case, yeah, this was a good deck. I'm happy that we drafted this one. This one worked out real well. Fanatic of Ronus continues to be a messed up Magic card, and yeah, we actually had some damage to the face with the Molten Gatekeeper and the Ghostfire Slashes. Felt good. Appreciate everybody's time. Thank you all for watching, and you have a wonderful day. Bye.